All right, welcome back. Today we are going to pull back the curtain on something we use every single second of every day but probably don't think about too much: the internet. We're going to trace the incredible path data takes from, well, anywhere in the world, right, to your device. You ready? Let's get into it.
You know that feeling, right? You click play on a video, you fire off an email, you jump on a video call, and it just works. It feels instantaneous. But in that tiny split second, your request is actually embarking on this pretty amazing journey. So what exactly is that journey? Okay, so this diagram right here, this is basically our map. Think of it this way. On the left, you've got your private network. That's everything inside your home or office. And on the right, you've got the huge, wide open public internet. We're going to follow the path your data takes to get from one side to the other. So, where does this whole trip begin? It's not in some far-off data center. Nope. It all starts right there with you. The very first steps of this journey happen inside your own four walls. First up, you've got your router. The best way to think of a router is like a local traffic cop for your house. Its main job isn't to talk to the outside world, not yet. It's all about managing the traffic between your own devices, making sure that Netflix stream goes to your TV, your email goes to your laptop, and your music goes to your smart speaker. Now, to actually get out of the house and onto the internet, you need this guy, the modem. If the router is the traffic cop, the modem is the gateway to the world. It's like a translator. It takes whatever kind of signal your internet service provider sends you, whether it's coming over a phone line or a TV cable, and it converts it into a language your router can understand. So just to be super clear, because this is where a lot of people get mixed up, they do two completely different things. The router creates your local network, connecting all your stuff together. The modem connects that entire network to the global internet. Now, a lot of the time, your provider will give you one box that does both jobs, but inside that box, there are still two separate technologies doing these two very different, very essential things.
And here's where it gets really interesting. The single biggest thing that determines what your internet service is like, how fast it is, how reliable it is, it all comes down to what's called the last mile. That's the actual physical link from your house to your provider's main network. And how that connection is made? Well, that's where you see all the different types of internet out there.
So let's start with the classic methods, the ones that rely on a good old-fashioned physical wire running right up to your doorstep.
First, we've got DSL. That stands for Digital Subscriber Line. And honestly, this was a brilliant idea. It took the massive, existing network of copper phone lines that were already in pretty much every home and figured out how to send internet data over them at the same time.
But to make that work, you needed one of these little things, a splitter. Its job was super simple, but absolutely crucial. It just separated the internet signal from the voice signal so you could, talk on the phone and surf the web without one messing up the other. Then came cable internet. This works on the exact same principle as DSL, but instead of using phone lines, it uses the coaxial cables that deliver your cable TV. Now, the key thing to know about cable is that the connection from the main line to all the houses in your neighborhood is shared. That means if everyone is online at the same time, things can sometimes slow down a bit.
And that brings us to the current king of the hill, fiber optic. This is a whole different ballgame. Instead of electricity over copper, this technology sends pulses of light through tiny, hair-thin strands of glass. It is ridiculously fast. When that fiber line runs directly to your building, it's the gold standard, offering just absolutely mind-blowing speeds.
But hey, what happens when you can't run a physical cable to a place? That's where things get really clever, and the internet has to learn how to travel right through the air. For a ton of people in rural or super remote areas, satellite internet is an absolute lifeline. You have a dish at your house, it beams a signal up to a satellite orbiting way up in space, and that satellite beams it back down. It's amazing technology that can get you online almost anywhere on the planet. But, as we're about to see, it comes with one pretty big catch.
And of course, there's cellular internet. This uses the exact same mobile networks that our smartphones rely on. It's evolved like crazy over the years, right? From the early days of 3G to the big jump with 4G and LTE, and now we're in the era of 5G, which is so fast it can actually compete with some of those wired connections we just talked about.
Okay, so we always talk about internet speed, right? But speed, or what's technically called bandwidth, is only half the story. There's another number that can have a way bigger impact on how your connection actually feels, and that number is called latency. So what's the difference? The easiest way to wrap your head around it is to think of a highway. Bandwidth, your speed, is like how many lanes the highway has. More lanes means more cars can travel at once. But latency, that's the time it takes for a single car to drive to its destination and come all the way back. It's the round-trip travel time.
Now, let's go back to that satellite internet. Because that signal has to travel all the way up to space and all the way back down, the latency is somewhere between 600 and 800 milliseconds. Just hold that number in your mind for a second.
Now look at this. The round-trip time for a basic wired DSL connection, 10 to 20 milliseconds. The difference is just huge. It's not that one is bad, it's just physics. That satellite signal has to travel thousands and thousands of miles, so a long delay is just baked right in.
And this is why it matters so much to you. High latency is what causes that awkward pause in a video call. It's that frustrating lag when you're playing an online game. You could have all the bandwidth in the world, a 100-lane highway, but if it takes forever for data to make that round trip, anything that happens in real time is going to feel sluggish.
Wow, okay, so we have covered a ton of ground. Let's take a quick step back and just pull this all together to see how these different ways of getting online really compare.
This chart pretty much says it all. You can see the trade-offs crystal clear. DSL is everywhere because the phone lines were already there, but it's just not that fast. Cable is a really good middle-of-the-road option, a nice balance of speed and cost, but you do have to share it. Fiber is the absolute best in terms of performance. Fastest speeds, lowest latency, but it's expensive to install, so it's not available everywhere yet. And then there's satellite, which can connect you from almost anywhere, but you're going to have to live with that high latency.
So there you have it. From your router, across that all-important last mile, and out into the global network. Every single method has its own strengths and its own weaknesses. And it leaves us with a really big question. As our lives get more and more digital, demanding more and more data, which one of these technologies is ultimately going to win out and define what the future of being connected looks like?